I think most people are still not entirely convinced by the recovery, even though we had a really strong first quarter. I think reason being the real estate sector, it is still struggling, right? So even though the second-hand housing is selling very strong, but I think new property sales is still down going into the months of April. So, you really need a sustainable recovery in the property sector, for the entire economy to recover. After all, there is 1/3 of the economy that is not doing well. And also, the property sector is a very important credit multiplier in the economy. So if the property sector is not re-expanding, then it makes it harder to expand credit, even though the central bank has been loosening its monetary policy.
So a lot of uncertainty about the data, about the patchy economic recovery. Then you have Beijing wanting to exert greater control over the economy. What's the upside for investors? When you're an investor and you look at Chinese assets, do you want to invest?
Yeah, I think there are two different camps here. So I think foreign investors is still very difficult to convince, and as a result, we're not seeing strong commitment in this part of the world. But then at the same time, the domestic investors are looking for thematic opportunities to make money this year. For example, the AI sector is doing very strongly. And also, many of the SOE background companies listed in the domestic exchange has been going very strong as well. These are the companies that has a very low valuation and also very strong cash flow. And also these are the companies that has been kicked out of the U.S. stock exchange and came back to to be listed in the Asia market. So I think there are patches of opportunities this year. It is not yet a structural secular sort of a trend, but there are money to be made in this part of the world.
How encouraging were the Golden Week consumption numbers?
It is stronger than expected, but then at the same time, per capita spending is actually less than 2019, right? So overall, the consumption figure during the Golden Week is 1% higher than 4 years ago. So it's nothing to be excited about, and also because before the Golden Week holiday, many of the booking data has been released. So people sort of has been anticipating a very strong travel season going into the Golden Week holiday. So now we're seeing the results. Even though the volume has been huge, but per capita spending is actually less than 4 years ago.
I find it really interesting that you say that obviously there's still domestic appetite to work out ways to make money off the stock market. I don't want to be cynical, but I mean, that's what you get with a closed capital account, right? That ball of money has to move somewhere. There's not much other choice. Do you think when it comes to what the government is doing with a lot of these measures, are they deliberately trying to exclude at least parts of this market from foreign investors? Why make it so difficult to invest and to get transparent information?
Yeah, I think the effort's really, trying to continue the opening process. I mean, the Chinese government is welcoming foreign investors to come back. But then at the same time, even though this year, despite a very sort of a cyclical recovery in the first quarter, stocks are not responding for some reason. But, if you want to make money besides the opportunities that I mentioned just now, actually the bond market is doing very strongly. Right? So bond yield continue to trend down. That is very opposite, from what's going on in the U.S. So this year, I think bond investors are very happy. But then at the same time, if bond is doing well, that means the market is not convinced about the economic recovery.